hundreds of episodes. So
let me see if I can remember why there's a 10A and a 10B.
It's just 10 and 10A. They're 2 different weeks, and it becomes important when we go live and I go into This Week in Geek, and I'll explain then. It's not actually important. It's just funny.
Well, I can't wait to hear because I do not remember it all.
Yeah. The first 20 or 30 episodes are weird.
Well,
but that's okay. We didn't know what we were doing.
As opposed to right now where it's like I can just jump in and say, hi, I'm Jack.
And I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are Glib Shark, and that is how you start a show. Episode 500, to be precise. I'm kind of amazed. It just kind of snuck up on you. Like, I started this broadcast in 2006. We're probably one of the longest weekly podcasts out there on the internet at this point, I think, that's still doing it. So kudos to us. I
think that's fair to say.
So we're going to celebrate. We're going to reminisce. We're going to have a few familiar faces call in, and eventually... And I'm going to do something I haven't done in a little while. If you want to call in, just message Jenga Ship on Skype. And if our bouncer sees you fit, you can call in and join the conversation. But first, as always, or at the very least, as often as we can, we have the lovely, the talented, the amazing Obo Crazy here to do a little something that we call This Week in Geek. How are you, Lauren?
Happy 500. So I thought I'd do something a little different for This Week in Geek, considering this is kind of a reminiscing episode, a little bit of reminiscing. I would go back and find the news stories that I talked about in the very first This Week in Geek, or at least what I could find from This Week in Geek. So if you dive into our archives, and as Jenga said, he's been doing this podcast since 2006. Official episodes started, official episode 1 is November 30th, 2006. So we are approaching our 10-year anniversary. Now, I didn't officially join the show until several episodes after. I was a guest on the January 14th, 2007 episode, which was labeled episode 9. It was me and my wonderful friend Elnia. We were on, talked about a ton of different things, including Red versus Blue fan fiction. And I believe there were some dramatic readings. Anyway, shortly after that, I remember having a discussion, Jenga, with you about coming on the podcast on a regular basis and just having some fun. And at the time, it was still an interview podcast. So I said, well, I don't necessarily want to come on and do an interview, but I have this idea of you need an opener. And that's how This Week in Geek was born, was I felt like Jenga deserved an opener for the show to, a crowd warm-up kind of thing. And also it gives any guests that are coming on a couple of extra minutes to get into the call, because the old talk show days were... Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so I dove into the archives to try to find the very first episode that had an official This Week in Geek. Now, episode 9, as I said, is the episode I appeared on as a guest. The next episode that's posted is not a numbered episode. It's a Stephosaurus tape, but that was the next day. And then a week later is an episode 10, which I don't know if I'm on. I kind of scrubbed through it and I couldn't find myself. And but that was an interview show. And then there's an episode 10A, which aired on January 25th, 2007, which is listed as a freeform Jenga Jam. And as far as I can tell, it's the very first official This Week in Geek episode. So I thought it'd be fun to go back and basically redo those things that I talked about in the very first This Week in Geek, because, oh my God, we're old. So the first thing I talked about was how basically you can't find anybody online to play with anymore because a little thing called World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade had come out. That's right. The marquee thing that I talked about was how the expansion for World of Warcraft: Burning Crusade dropped. I talked about how it was released and it became the highest grossing and fastest selling PC game on day one at the time. It sold 2.4 million copies. It's still, I believe, considered the fastest selling PC game in all markets. And that between that and another little MMO that was coming out, all the geeks that you know in your life were probably online playing an MMO. So I talked about World of Warcraft. The other MMO that dropped or that had information come out was the Lord of the Rings Online, which goes to show time. I mean, here we are practically 10 years later, and World of Warcraft is coming out with another expansion and more things and has continued to take over the world. And hey, do any of you actually remember Lord of the Rings Online?
Nope. This is the first time I've actually thought about it in at least 9 years.
Yeah, so the news article was that it was about to drop. It actually came out in April 2007. It did have a whole bunch of expansion packs. It was one of the MMOs that eventually very quickly went free to play. And I guess the big deal at the time that I talked about was the fact that even though there's PvP, you couldn't play as a bad guy. And you couldn't play as one of the characters from the books. So there was no like orc versus hobbit battles going on. And at the time, it sounded like this was going to be this amazing, huge, almost to rival World of Warcraft MMO. Nope. The other thing that we talked about, we had an obligatory Halo section in which I just talked about the spiker grenade and some fun stuff that they were doing on Halo at the time. But the other big news article that I talked about was a little bit of interesting news about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, the one from 2007. So the news article was about how the voice actor Mako, who had unfortunately passed away in 2006, had been announced as the voice of Splinter at San Diego Comic-Con in 2006 and died the next day. But that in 2007, news had come out that he had done enough of the voice acting and they were able to piece together enough of his dialogue so that he could still be the voice of Splinter in the movie, and that this was a big deal. I don't remember how well that movie did. Does anybody remember how well that movie did?
I don't think it did particularly well, but it wasn't like terrible either.
Yeah. I seem to remember it was that it was fairly I believe it's got like a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it is now officially credited as the final performance of Mako in any capacity. Now, I will say what I did 10 years ago, which is you should just go watch Samurai Jack, because Samurai Jack is awesome. Anyway, if anyone can remember or tell me or figure out why there's an episode 10 and an episode 10A, I would love to hear. If I'm wrong and there's actually a This Week in Geek earlier, I would love to also know. I just haven't had the time to listen to, let's say, all 9 of the first original episodes, especially since a couple of them are more than an hour. The Freeform Jenga Jam is an hour and a half. We had Travi Yak on, and he was 2 hours. When Linnea and I were on, we were 2 hours. You have some long episodes. So that's all for This Week in Geek. I'm Obo Crazy and Nostalgia Trips.
Oh man, the world is indeed a wonderful place. If you have a fact you want read live and on the air, you can send it to Lauren at obocrazy.com, and while you're at it, go to glibshark.com. Well, by the time this airs, go to glibshark.com, and it's full of all of our content, past episodes of Jenga Jam, modern Glib Shark, all-time Buttcast, and of course, the latest sensation, Dungeons and Dragons and Drunks. So to answer your question about episode 10A.
You have an answer.
I do. I think originally it was supposed to be Leo, like Hellslayer. And I think he had to reschedule that week. So I decided rather than to make that episode 11, because I had billed him for that episode, I figured I would just do a freeform Jenga Jam, which interestingly enough has been what we've been doing for the past almost 3 years in terms of walking away from doing guests every week. And it's nice because really I started this podcast as an opportunity to sort of talk to my friends. I was really inspired by the Ricky Gervais show, where he was just sort of, bullshitting with his pals in the studio and being funny. And I kind of wanted to do some level of that. And by that estimation, I feel like I've succeeded, because there are some legit gut laughs in the 10-year backlog.
Oh, definitely. And you've had some amazing guests. And in the last couple of years that we've been doing kind of the chatting thing, they've been some of my favorite things to look forward to during the week, which is always nice to have something. We record Dungeons and Dragons and Drunks on a Monday, and we record this on a Tuesday. And it definitely makes the beginning of the work week so much easier to have something to look forward to.
I totally agree. Like yesterday, I was not feeling good, so that was a little bit different. But yeah, it's the 2 days going into Hump Day, and I look forward to this every week. And there are times when, yes, I'm playing games, and maybe I'm a little late, but I'm here as much as I can, and that is what matters. And
exactly. None of us have this all the time.
And I look forward to being the movie guy or the TV guy and talking about that and saying, hey, this is what I did this weekend.
And
none of us have perfect attendance, including Jenga.
Oh, yeah. Where was I last week? I was feeling terrible. So every now and again, Jenga takes a sick day, takes a sabbatical, likes to explore. He's on assignment in Kuala Lumpur. But yeah, I mean, I really like the idea that I can come on here and basically throw out this obscure reference to something that's 25 years old, and no one can kick me off of this broadcast because we own it.
Yeah,
you're in charge.
I was thinking about that the other day because a podcast that I'm a fan of, or a podcaster, I guess, that I'm a fan of, Tyler Coe, who used to be on Sportsball, is not coming back apparently. So
what happened?
Tyler did an AMA on Reddit, I think, and he basically wasn't happy with the structure. This is what he said. He wasn't happy with the structure of the show. He kind of wished he could do something different, and this podcast is closer to his vision. That sounds great. That is something that if I were in his position, I would probably say publicly. Privately, who knows? It's a production studio. They produce what they like. Honestly, I don't see the harm in continuing it. Like if it was Rooster Teeth that said, hey, we're not going to continue this, Tyler, and Tyler sort of made his peace with it, I don't understand that move because there is so much Rooster Teeth content. Why not cater to the sports fans? Why not simply end the season, and when football comes back, football is coming back, by the way, just revamp the show, like just to have a different format, just do things differently on that show. So I think it wasn't just him that canceled it. I think it just wasn't getting the views. And that's unfortunate that it came down to that, because in the old Rooster Teeth days, if it was a passion project and Tyler was not unable to do his other stuff, I don't see why having the sports ball show is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would like to hope that, irregardless of the reasons behind why the original show went away, if he's truly happy with the new directions has gone in and likes the podcast model, then good for him. It's his baby. Let him have fun.
But the point I was going to make is that podcast is not associated with Rooster Teeth. It's actually on a different podcast network. And the whole point is we aren't beholden to any networks. We're not on someone that's telling us, hey, you can't do this, or hey, you should do this that way. We don't even have advertisers, which advertisers would be nice.
I would love
sponsorship would be nice.
Sponsorship would be amazing.
But I feel like if we're going to make a dead baby joke, that might drive away sponsors. But I would rather make the dead baby joke.
Yeah. That's cool to have a passion project, something you look forward to, and something that actually informs people's lives. We talk about important stuff. We talk about fun stuff. We're glib, so we talk about things that aren't taken seriously very much. And I like that we have this avenue, this sort of platform where we can talk about our projects. We can talk about what's on our minds. And you have sort of a journal of what are the past 10 years of our lives have been like, too. So you can go back and listen to any given episode and see where I am, where I'm talking about, oh, man, Jenga, I don't have a girlfriend or something like that, being sad about that, or like worrying about the wedding, or even Lauren's story with yours and Luke's story is documented on this broadcast. Jonathan, your love of board games, very much part of this. So it's sort of part of our biography, I think.
Well, and I think the clearest documentation of Jonathan's contribution has been the overall quality of the presentation of the show, the audio quality, the changing over to using Skype and Twitch, and just the bumping up the level of professionalism used in making this podcast. So, because, oh God, I had a ton of fun in those early days of Talk Show, but listening to that episode, we're having a ton of fun and it's a great episode, but the quality of the audio is abysmal. Yeah. And granted, it's 2006. It's, nobody had anything nice except for super professional audio people. So we're all just calling in on our phones. And certainly, there wasn't much we could do at the time. But having Jonathan come along and say, hey, guys, you've been using your phones long enough and you've been using this Talk Show thing long enough. It's time to step up our game. That helped a lot.
Let me say, making 3 people who are in 3 different states across all 1,000 miles away from each other in any given direction sound like they're in the same room is a huge accomplishment.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, guys. I was actually thinking of the old days and the Talk Show stuff. It is tough to listen to. I'm glad that we are where we are now. There are things that I kind of miss about the Wild West days. Hey, Lauren, you were talking about how you got involved in the show. I mean, I was also in the Talk Show days, obviously, and I think the first couple of times I called in, I think I was calling in about football. And then you had me and Clem on as guests for OU Texas. And I'm not sure if that was before or after RVBTO 2007.
I mean, I would think it'd have to be after.
I think it was after.
I don't think I met you until RVB 2000.
Right. We had interacted on the sports bar.
Yeah.
And we had interacted on the site. And I had an awareness of you and your show, but I wasn't a part of that. And that was also I guess it was RVBTO 2008. That was the year after I became a mod.
And that was Socks told me that there'd be another person in the room. Oh, it's Roblox. And you know him online. And I'm like, oh God, some rando. And it turns out you're actually kind of cool.
I'm all right. I guess the other thing I was going to say about the Talk Show days is, even though it was sort of the dark ages as far as sound quality, I went up on a podcast panel at, what was it, RTX 2013? And I could tell Dustin Pettigrew, Goose Checka, and Lindsay Now Jones that we had one of the first live podcasts in the community, if not the first.
I think we're the first one that's still around. There are a couple of ones that are here and there. I think that.
Well, my point is that we were live.
Right. Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean, in the Talk Show days, there were a couple of other people that were live, but I think we kept doing it for the longest, and I think we're probably the highest quality project to have been.
Oh, that's right, because there was that whole Rooster Teeth podcast network or something.
Yeah, there were a couple other things. Yeah, there are other
loose association of other podcasts.
Right, and there were others for sure. But I'm proud that I'm still standing. And all you really need to do it is the desire to talk about something with your friends for 60 minutes or more. If you have that, the rest of it's going to follow.
Oh, speaking of all of this nostalgia, I am bringing on Linnea right now. I hopefully have added her to the call. I'm not the person who does this kind of thing. Is she here?
Well, I see her name, but I see a little hang up icon next to her.
Well, don't hang up on her. I'm trying to get her in here.
No, she. Hang on.
Oh, Jonathan's on the case. We're golden.
Let's vamp in the meantime.
Yes. Well, for the vamping, I will say Linnea is the one who she came up with the theme music to what was Late Night Jenga Jam and is now Glib Shark. Really, the only difference between the theme song is that at the beginning of the original Glib Shark theme or Jenga Jam theme, you hear her say, "Ride the Jenga ship," which I love so much. But we no longer ride the Jenga ship, we ride the Glib Shark ship. So that's why the theme music now just swells in from the beginning.
Yeah,
so
that's someone else's job now.
had someone all of that swelling. And that's the same music that we also use for Dungeons and Dragons and Drunks as the background music, because it is awesome and it ties all of our podcasts together. And she is the person that we first were on your show together and had a lot of fun with. And so I asked her, hey, you should come back on the show for the 500th episode and we'll have a lot of fun.
Hey, Lauren, could you do me a favor? Could you put Linnea's Skype name into the chat?
I can do that while you guys vamp.
Okay. So one of the things I wanted to point out is that a lot of our first guests were people that I met in Toronto at RVBTO, or people that I knew from the community otherwise. And I think the first 10 episodes I don't think I talked to anyone from outside the Rooster community until I want to say episode 15 or something. Or maybe MW Wilson. He wasn't really on the community. I think he signed up the account. This guy told him to do it. Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray.
See,
my God.
it wasn't that we needed me to add you to the call. It was that I needed to turn to Jonathan and say, hey, technical wizard, add our lovely and talented friend to the call.
I am not going to say that I didn't do anything. Seriously, I didn't do anything.
So as the other way of introducing, so Linnea, we already introduced you kind of and explained that you're the person who wrote the wonderful theme music to our podcast. I will say that as she was getting ready, she went to go get a headset and said that, I'm going to need a microphone. And I said, well, I could always go ahead and just, read your texts in a dramatic fashion. And she said that I was only allowed to do that if I made her sound like Shatner. So I do have headphones and a microphone. Okay. I am ready.
Now say Denny Crane.
So that's your official introduction. Hi.
Skype is begging me to turn on video. Does something happen if
I use suddenly a video? We don't use video because I like to not have to worry about it on a Tuesday night.
I hear you.
So
it's funny. We only started doing video on Skype on Mondays for Dungeons and Dragons and Drunks. So while we're playing, a little bit of a secrets of the D&D and D is revealed. We actually, when Roll20's having problems for whatever reason, like with the video there, we actually just switched it over to Skype and we use Roll20 primarily for the game part of it. But we actually see each other via Skype. And in 10 years of broadcasting, I never once thought to, I like the intimacy of audio, I guess. But how the hell are you? I went on this whole rant or tangent. We've been spoken in a little while, I think.
Mm-mm.
It's been a minute. That's my fault.
No. I think we can assess blame equally amongst all of us.
Yay, spread the blame around. We're a blame socialist
blame-centric.
paradise. Yeah.
So we were discussing the first time that we were on the podcast, which at this point was 9.5 years ago.
Over 12 centuries ago. And I was thinking about it actually as I was driving home from the weird drawing class and thinking that the last time I did this, I learned that there was such a thing as red versus blue /fic, which I'm still having to have a lot of counseling about. So I'm a little bit anxious that I'll learn some terrible thing.
That's still one of my favorite memories of that whole 2-hour crazy podcast was us going onto fanfiction.net and live reading. Yes. Yeah, Jenga was basically subjected to a phone call between Linnea and I in where we just talk about random things for fun, except it was recorded for posterity.
Hey, not just me, our entire audience
was subjected to it.
It was awesome.
That's the beauty of it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about all y'all and about how when I first met you, you were all so young and so naive, and now you're all old and married and stuff.
I know, right?
I'm all verklempt.
I know. Give us a topic. Will you give us a moment and a topic?
A moment and a topic in terms of what?
Oh, I thought we were doing a Linda Richmond thing.
Yes. Ganglion cyst is neither a ganglion nor a cyst. Discuss.
So that's been my favorite thing you've been up to since this crazy podcast debacle we call Jenga Jam and Glib Shark. Linnea has been putting up videos on YouTube of her classroom teaching videos, basically, and they are awesome.
Well, I was actually thinking about you, Lauren, because over the weekend, for some reason, I was sick most of the weekend, and so I was mostly not doing work. And I thought, it'd be great if I could put a video up about how rats bulge their eyes out. And so I was working on this video and thinking about how you would really hate that video. And I'd have to put a disclaimer at the beginning, like, Lauren, do not watch this. Turn it off. You won't like it.
There is still, we are both huge Farscape fans, and there's still about 40 seconds of Farscape that I have never seen. And Linnea has always been very good whenever we've watched Farscape, whenever we watched it together, to be like, okay, you can look now. You can look now. It's okay. All eyes and But no, your videos are awesome, and my favorite is the one where you tell people over and over again that the goal is to not kill anyone.
Okay.
Which I show to people all the time.
Oh, well, that must be, because I was wondering where I was getting all those other hits. So that must be it.
I'm constantly showing your video. Definitely take a search for her on YouTube, and I think it's probably the video that sounds like it would be the most boring, because I think it's just you reading your syllabus. Yeah. But in the middle of it, you go into why it's really important to learn the things that she's going to teach. And one of them is that you don't kill anyone. And it's the best thing ever of all time.
Well, I feel like it's my duty to let the students know before they take my class how weird I am, so that if they don't like that style, they should not spend their money taking my class. So, yeah.
But it is very straightforward.
No, I'm really pleased that you enjoy those videos, actually.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
I know you have. Well, I do, and I was wondering, because a lot of us old guard haven't been as around on the Rooster Teeth site quite so much, but obviously you're still active on the internet. Have you been keeping up with any of the Rooster Teeth shows, or where do you now haunt the internet?
I've now become one of those people that yells at kids to get off their lawns. So,
yes,
finally, someone willing to stand up to those darn kids.
Get off my lawn, you kids! My son Tony, who's now 21, Spighton, if you recall, when he was young, I used to take him to the RVB conventions, but now he's like an old person.
And he's finally old enough to go now.
Yeah. He can play Halo finally, which is a trial. So. Yeah. Okay, now I lost my train of thought because of the whole being old thing. What was it? I was going to tell. Oh God.
I don't.
Nobody listen. Where you hang out online.
Oh, yes. Right. Yeah. So when RVB went from the format that they used to be into Facebook format, I got all confused and I couldn't figure out how to keep. It was like suddenly I had trouble keeping track of everybody. So I thought, well, I'll go to Facebook and try to lure people to Facebook. That'll help. And then I subscribed to RVB and Rooster Teeth, but they put out about 700,000 videos a day. And so it's very hard to sort of keep up with them, I find. So I sort of watch them. I sort of pick and choose. And in fact, I just recently finally watched Ruby on the first season of Ruby on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is really good. And, it made me feel a little bit sad, too, because a lot of the animation, I can see Monty doing it, because of his very trademark motion capture. And so that was a little bit sort of bittersweet. But, yeah, no, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it is.
Kids, they like the anime.
His stuff. Yeah. Well, listen, and that's, I may not be into anime, but any fight sequence that Monty ever did was always fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah. See, no, I had an anime phase, but I'm okay now. So
well, I don't know. You watched Ruby and you enjoyed it. Are you planning on watching season 2?
Yeah, I am planning on watching season 2, actually. And like I said, I did go through an anime phase because I was became friendly with somebody who was an anime fan, and I watched a lot of anime, and now I probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
Listen, this is a safe space.
No, is it? Is it a safe place to talk?
It is a safe place to talk about anything.
You don't have to worry that nobody else will hear about it, so that's good. Yeah.
There's no shame here.
There's no shame. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Like last Friday, I've been watching a lot of Riff Tracks, which is sort of Mystery Science Theater stuff, but they didn't have a new one last week, so I watched the live action version of Black Butler. So, yeah.
And you got a chance to see the Mystery Science Theater reunion live.
I did. I drove up to Minneapolis and I saw them live, and they all looked just the same except older. So that was fun. Frank, you remember TV's Frank? He is so dirty. Oh my God.
Dirty?
He tells so many dirty jokes.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I think they're going to have that as a video download at some point in the next couple of months. So.
Perfect.
I highly recommend it. Yeah, because they had Joel and Mike and everybody, and everyone was smiling and being happy. It was great, and it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I was watching your posts about that in agreeing with envy, and I am super happy that they did that, because when the Kickstarter came out for the new season of Mystery Science Theater, and there was kind of this weird undercurrent of, well, what about the old guard, and what about the new people, and what about Mike, and what's going on with Riff Tracks, and it's a split community, and I feel like them doing this reunion thing wasn't just an awesome thing for them to do, but also a very visual, like, hey guys, it's okay, we're all still friends here, it's all gonna be okay.
Yeah, no, that definitely put my mind at ease, at least, about all that stuff. And I'm really looking forward to the new, then they did the Kickstarter for the new Mystery Science Theater. Joel was they did the last bit of it live, and Joel was sort of staggering around, sort of emceeing things, and they hit their target amount or whatever. And everyone's screaming and laughing, everything's so great. And about 10 minutes later, he's sort of talking like Joel, how he is, and somebody said, well, we hit the goal. And he's like, oh, really? Oh, that's great. He's so lucky. Anyway, and also this is just aside for us old guard women who are nerds, which nowadays lots of girls are nerds, which is great.
I know.
But Mystery Science Theater, you remember Mrs. Forrester, Pearl Forrester was one of the bad guys on that show?
Yes.
And Bridget Nelson, who was Mr. B Natural and is the wife of Mike Nelson, they are now doing their own series on Riff Tracks. They do all videos that are like things about women. Like they did a short video about menstruation. It's really fun.
Go on.
Yeah. Tell me more. So yeah, that's I highly recommend that to girl nerds. I don't know how much boy nerds want to watch videos about menstruation, but it's definitely...
Listen, girl nerds don't want to watch videos about menstruation. But if the two of them are going to make fun of it, I'll watch it.
Yeah, no, it's, those old videos. Well, maybe you probably had to watch a different video than I did, because I was watching that video in 1977 or something. But all the girls would go to the gym, and the girls would watch a video about menstruation, and the boys would go and watch. I don't know what do the boys watch during that time.
So the boys would watch, like, it depends, because I've seen both a slideshow about puberty in kids and like wet dreams and erections and should you have a foreskin, should you not, and then I remember one video in middle school about how to give yourself a testicular exam for tumors and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Oh, see, now I learned something new today. That's very interesting.
That's what's on the other side of the curtain, so to speak. Yeah.
I kind of wish that we had gotten that version of the breast exam.
You didn't? Because I think our girls did.
I don't think I had.
No, the only thing I remember that's different, I think all of the videos were the same as what you guys are remembering, but our health class we were all together for it. We were all forced to be in the same room, and it was not like a boys and a girls separate thing. And it was heavily policed. It was like that was the day and where there were 5 or 6 teachers in the room all of a sudden, and it was, you're gonna watch this and you're gonna friggin' learn. And it was they were very just blunt. I do remember one of the videos was black and white, which was
in keeping with the times, sure.
it was all film projector shit.
The black and white.
Well, we were at the point where you could afford color. Come on. But yeah, I do remember seeing it was very sciencey. It was very, I think they were trying to avoid the people having fun at things and being like, ooh, dirty. By the videos were very like I could have sworn if I'd known who Ben Stein was, he was the one who was narrating all of them. And this
was starring in it.
That would have actually been awesome. But no, like I do remember that whoever was the narrator was super dry and intentionally boring, so that when he said things like testes, nobody laughed because it was just depressing.
See, in that context, adding an ingredient to moisturize takes on a whole new meaning.
Well, I remember that the co-ed lectures that we had, and again, this is like 1978-9, were so dry that I, in fact, did not know how to have a sex when I went to And my roommate, I didn't know about masturbation. I didn't know about how sex worked exactly. I just all I remembered from sex ed was that if you get a STD from one partner, it's as though you had sex with all their partners. That's all.
Oh yes. Yep.
So it was so clinical. It's in the last year or two, I've sort of gotten into a strange fixation with Norway, which is a whole other story. And but in Norway, evidently, in the first, in like 2nd or 3rd grade, they teach sex ed, and they have like silicone, like real dolls, like Japanese real dolls, or something. And it's incredibly. There's no taboos. They talk all about sex, and they have the lowest STD rate in the world.
It's like knowledge is power or something.
Education counts.
Yeah.
Norway's got it going on, although apparently their per capita rate of Star Trek fans is lower than Sweden for some reason.
Oh my God.
I was listening to Engage, which is the official Star Trek podcast. They just launched, they're newer at it than we are, so they're still feeling a couple of things out. But one of the things that the host, Jordan Morris, brought up was that, apparently like he has a ton of listeners from Sweden. And, they all keep telling stories about how Norway doesn't have that many Star Trek fans.
Well, Sweden, they're very tech savvy and into video games and all that kind of stuff.
See that. And
it is at this point, because we're talking both about sex and about other countries, that I'm going to bring on Luke McKay of the Clan McKay.
All right.
Mostly because I immediately turned to him and I said, Luke, do you want to talk about Canadian sex ed? And here is what he said.
Okay.
Oh, I went to a really strict Christian school. There just was no sex ed. It was the 80s, man. There was just no sex ed back then.
So where did you learn about sex?
Oh, from the stupid farm kid. No.
The way God intended, right?
Yeah, I grew up in a rural area. There was like farming, lots of farming stuff, and so there was I'm not sure how. There was like
safe space. Just say what you need to say.
Yeah, we just we assumed things from what we'd seen on the farm.
I see.
So you watched the cows do it, and you figured that sex was about the same thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was very misinformed for a long time.
And then you became a nurse. What kind of transformation was that?
Oh, well, I knew the deal before then. Thank God.
Luke, did you have to watch in nursing school? Did you have to watch videos of people masturbating and having sex?
No, that's for doctors.
Oh,
those
really?
were elective courses.
Wait.
I didn't have to.
No,
I wanted
we had a whole day set aside to watch, and it was all really bad, like 70s porn.
Yeah, I do know that they get doctors to watch a lot of like kind of really extreme kind of videos of like sexual behavior, just so they're not shocked when someone shows up in their doctor's office and says, "Hey, I did this thing while having sex," and they're like, "Yeah, people do that."
You'll never believe what is in my bottom right now. Yeah.
I swear I fell backwards onto this gerbil. Really?
Lemmy winks.
Oh my god! Wait, so this is the first I might have heard about this. So there are was it that you were watching porn, or were they videos specifically for doctors to watch to educate them about masturbation and sex?
But there were some actual like science-y type videos where they showed people masturbating and then showed like heat signatures. The thing is I know there were some other medical students who were definitely virgins and they're watching this like, what the hell is this? And then we had to watch people having sex in different positions, and it was mostly like grainy film from the 70s because they had 70s hair rolling around in meadows. I don't know. I was sort of watching one eye open. Huh?
I don't know if like any beach scenes. That's usually a very classic sex thing.
The thing about it is that I went through my whole medical training and practice and never once saw people having sex. So I don't know how useful that really was. You know, it just didn't come up in the clinic. So
really, I thought you were specialized in eye medicine, like. like I'm surprised you never got like, oh, it got in my eye.
No, that's what I had. No, I never personally had that one. Patient come in like that. So
why is your eye so red? It burns.
Well, I fell backwards onto a gerbil.
Well, actually, I did have a number of patients that came in because they had gonorrheal infections in their eyes. So, where were you putting penis? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow, never sleeping again. I feel like we're going for kind of a high score here. It's like a full circle thing, from the dead baby jokes of 10 years ago to gonorrhea in your eye here in 2016.
No.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Dead baby jokes are a thing of the past. This is educational.
Yeah,
that's true. Remember, Jonathan, can we call this episode "Here's Gonorrhea in Your Eye"?
No.
That'll be the subtitle in my heart then. That's fine.
Aw.
I like that I get this strict no from our producer. It's like, no, Jack.
Sorry.
No,
how about doctors watching porn?
I have to say, I should have asked, like, is there certain levels of well, it's too late now.
No. I just
the answer is no.
Yeah.
there are not those levels. I'm just not naming the fucking episode of that.
Safe space, remember? Safe space.
Safe space. Well, then, if Luke is still there, I have to ask him a question because I just had my second day of life drawing course because I can't draw people very well. So the instructor said, "Oh, everybody watch Linnea because she's very scribbly." So I'm like, okay. So I'm drawing in my scribbly way, and it's the model was this sort of skinny guy in his 60s or 70s. He had an enormous tract of land, I guess.
Really?
And so while I'm drawing him, and everyone's watching me draw him, I'm like, should I draw it? Should I not draw it? I didn't know because it was the first day. So I ended up drawing it. And then afterwards, the instructor comes over and he goes, "Well, this is what she did, blah, blah, blah. You don't really have to focus on that middle part if you don't need." I was like, oh.
If you don't want to draw the wang, you're not obligated to.
I don't know. Actually, a lot of the male subjects I've had for life drawing have all had pretty big dicks. I gotta say, and so it's like, yeah, how do you not draw like this big dick? Because it's a big dick.
It's right there. It's like looking at you. Did it wink at me?
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I swear to God, the guy stepped like I always had to sit close to the stage, and like this guy, I always swear the guys would just come over and just like put it right in my face, like just ah.
Listen, if they didn't want you to study that part of the anatomy, they would have worn boxer shorts.
Yeah.
Just notice the way the light catches the foreskin and just catch the shading properly.
The shading, the subtle shading of the veins.
Oh.
This guy was quite well. I mean, it's been a number of years since anyway. But
subjected to porn.
I've seen one in the flesh, so to speak. But his did seem unnaturally large. But I figure probably those are the guys that are going to do modeling, right? They're the ones who are pretty like, hey, check me out. So,
Yeah, I don't
would
think
imagine
anybody
so.
who was I don't think anyone is embarrassed of their member as walking into a life model. The same way I'm sure all of the females feel at least fairly confident in their appearance and have probably shaved extensively.
yeah, that was weird because he had like no body hair, which it just seems very weird to me.
No, none of the models I've ever had body hair. And I actually always hope to get like a bit of a fatter person, but I always got people who are fit. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Why did you hope for?
Well, just because people who are fat
different body type,
are
right?
almost like when they move, there's more movement to it. Like when someone's fit, it's like you're drawing like from an anatomy class where it's like, yes, like there's bones and muscles, and they just skin covering it. But when someone's fatter, there's more, I guess, kind of like cartoony, like flow of like a boop, 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 boop kind of movement. Like I hate to use just all those amazing graphical terms that are just
Perfect for a podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect for a podcast.
Yeah,
Wiggle.
I could draw what I'm saying, but no, just like when someone's has like some fat, like just the roles and just the way they have to sit and move is different,
Okay.
and so it's more interesting to draw.
Yeah.
Okay. But I could also see from hey, do you want to come and model for an art course? People who are more in shape more likely to say yes.
Or
Yeah.
or they might work on their appearance more because they're more exhibitionist types. Or I mean, I have no idea. Did you know
Yeah.
that there's a thing? Luke probably knows this, but I didn't know that this was a thing. That in cities they have these things called open studio, where they'll just have like a couple hours on some night or on a holiday, and you can just show up and you pay $15 and you can come in and draw naked people, and that's like I had no idea that was a
Yeah,
thing.
most community centers do that.
Yeah. So here's your big chance, Lauren.
There you go. You know, I'll say this. There's that artist who does photography of primarily large groups of naked people in interesting locations.
Oh, yeah.
And I've lost his name. And I know I've talked about him before on the podcast, but if you
I know who
Google,
you mean.
yeah, he does a lot of everybody go lay in the street naked and I'll take a picture. And I've always thought that would be a really interesting and kind of fun experience. And I know people who have done that who say that after you get over the initial 10 seconds of, oh God, I'm naked in front of strangers. Oh God, you're naked and you're a stranger. Nobody cares anymore. And it just becomes everyone's just naked and who cares?
Yeah, I think it seems cool too. Just don't tell your mother, you know.
I'd love to get feedback from that class too. It's like, I really think that your decision to use chiaroscuro shading on the areola was a bold choice and paid off.
Wow.
That was a deep cut. The first time I've even said that word in probably like 15 years.
That's amazing. Jenga, say that sentence again, just for my own benefit.
Employing chiaroscuro shading in drawing the areola was a bold choice, but it paid off.
I want that to be the name of this episode, but it's too long.
Chiaroscuro shading. CHIAROSCURO for the folks.
For those who are interested.
For those keeping score at home, who have Glib Shark the home game.
For those who are playing Scrabble right now and need the world's best word if you've got absolutely all the vowels. Yeah. Something like that. I've already lost half that word.
1, 2. I'm counting about 3, 4, 5. There are 5 vowels. So many that I have to count them out loud.
That's amazing. No, one of these days I will just. That's what we'll do, Luke. We'll do that as a couples event. We'll go to one of these community events, and you'll go and draw, and I'll go model.
Oh.
Sure.
That could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won't tell anybody that we even know each other, or that this is all planned. And then as we leave, we'll quote unquote hook up, and we will have made a story for a couple of people for the rest of their lives. I was at this life model class. It was like one of those things you could just show up to, and the girl was okay, and everybody seemed to be having okay. And at the end of the class, she just got down and kissed this guy and dragged him out. It was amazing.
You should write this up in your house.
Then he smacked her ass. I was like, is this okay?
I never thought this would happen to me. Oh my God, we have to do this now.
Don't tell your brother.
Wow.
No.
500 has turned out to be a landmark episode here. I love it.
I feel like I got on and immediately brought the level down.
No. This is amazing.
Okay,
We are totally doing this just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
I mean, we're still Charlie Rose. We just have Chiaro shading on the areolas. That's all.
Then all throughout the class, I could just slightly like smile and wink at Luke, and it'd be great. Oh my God. I hope there's one of these classes nearby. We'll go to like.
There's usually one at every community center.
Oh
I
my God.
probably guarantee you there's one at the college.
We'll go to Mercer Island where all the old Jews hang out, and we will be a scandal for the ages. It'll be amazing.
It'll be great. I'll be drawing you and then go like, and then show it to you as I draw.
You will actually physically get smacked by old Jews in the class for doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Have to pay for that.
Exactly. That's it. Well, my Saturday is planned. How about yours? Oh my God.
I'm going to Splash Town in Clementon Park. Like, how am I going to top that?
Actually, this weekend I am going to PAX. Although at the moment I only have a pass for one day. So I have to do all of my PAXing in one day.
I'll PAX away.
We do have, so Raging Terror is coming into town and staying with us. Jose's coming to town staying with us. We're going to see Dom. We're going to try to get a whole bunch of people together for a lunch. Hey, so anyone listening to this, if you happen to be in the Seattle area for PAX this weekend, shoot me a message at OboCrazy on Twitter and let me know. And just basically hang out at the Elephant and Castle. We'll be there, probably.
And Lauren, be sure to give all my Paxies a big hug from the Jenga.
Absolutely. And you will be missed.
Aw. I don't know how it can be missed. I've never actually been to a PAX West before.
Well,
I get what you're trying to say. I appreciate it.
Well, none of us technically have. We've only been to PAX Prime.
Oh, this is the first year for the official name change?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think they officially called it PAX West. I think this is the first official year because now we've got West, South, and East. All we need is North in Canada, and we're all set. We've got the compass.
I'd settle for Minneapolis, Minnesota.
There you go. And then they can pair up with Mystery Science Theater, and they can do a live Riff Tracks Mystery Science Theater thing at PAX.
This must happen.
Someone contact Joel. Felicia Day comes to PAX all the time. She'd be totally up for it.
Yeah.
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 I still have to finish reading her book. I should finish reading her book.
Absolutely. Well, man, the hour just kind of flew.
Oh, shit. It's been an hour.
I know, right?
Sorry.
We have to have you
No,
back.
don't be sorry.
I've forgotten how much fun it is to have like a fourth or a fifth person on the show. I mean, it's cool when it's the three of us too, but like this is like a whole level crazy. And Linnea, you have, I mean, you're like every 10 years you come on the show, but when you do, it's a doozy. Hey,
okay, mark your calendar for 2026.
26.
Yeah.
We're going to have you back on.
I'll be post-menopause. I'll be talking like this.
Oh, man. And I'll probably have a couple of Rugrats running around doing things.
That's right.
Like
They'll be
Quiet Daddy's
screaming in the
podcasting.
background.
There you
So
go.
where-
And then Linnea, you could yell at his kids to get off your lawn.
Shut
It'll
up,
be
come on,
amazing.
come on, kids.
So where can we find you online? Or can we find you online?
Who, me?
Yeah. Any of the social media stuff?
Yes, I'm Linnea Retina on Instagram and Twitter. Obo Crazy has slowly sucked me into Twitter. I'm getting a little better at it. So Linnea Retina. And then I'm on Facebook and then Tai Chinese is my YouTube channel. So.
And I'm pretty sure anyone who's listening that by now knows where to find Luke McKay. Like, it's
Hey, Luke, where can we find you? Tell everybody where you can find you.
LukeMcKay.com.
easy enough.
Twitter?
Luke McKay.
And what's your
My Xbox Live? It's Luke McKay.
What's your Rooster Teeth profile?
roosterteeth.com/Luke McKay.
Such
branding is so much
confusing
better than-
branding. My God.
But some other asshole got Luke McKay at Instagram, and so now I don't have an Instagram. I refuse to get an Instagram because someone else got my name.
Man.
Come on, Leo, give it back, man. Not cool. I
got
Wow,
Snapchat for some reason.
That's a deep cut, right?
6-year-old joke.
every time like some kind of social media thing pops up, I go and try and get my username right away. So
Even if you don't use it?
yeah, like I've never used Snapchat, but I had Luke McKay at Snapchat or whatever.
Now we all need to follow. I don't have Snapchat either, but now I'm going to join it just so that I can follow you.
And
Me too.
You can follow me at Jack Edithil, him at Road_block, and her at Obo Crazy. Our sound producer is Jonathan Ariel Lacerna.
Listen, I'm not going to say that some of the conversation didn't make my areolas hard. I'm not going to say that.
I just throw him the ball and he spikes it. It's great. It's been going on for a long time and it's going to continue for a very long time. So on behalf of Lauren Urban, Jonathan Cerna, and the entire Glib Shark staff, this is Jack Edel saying good night, good health, and stay Chiaroscuro, my friends.
How do you spell that shit again?
All right.